We're back with Pete Buttigieg. I was just saying, I don't know how you have the energy because you've been home like once or twice, and I mean, you're constantly going, and you have to be an extrovert to be able to do this because you said you get energy from people.
Yeah, well, I actually think of myself as an introvert, but I draw a kind of propulsion from the people I meet because when you're running for president and somebody comes up to you, they shake hands with you on a rope line after you give a speech or whatever it is, they're telling you about the most important thing in their lives. And you take in those stories all day. And it energizes you because it reminds you all the time what's at stake and why it really matters. This is not, sometimes they talk about politics like it's just another show, like it's a game. And it's our lives. And every time you get reminded of that, it creates this kind of fuel to keep going.
Yeah, I feel like you are, you're a perfect person to be in politics because, first of all, you're super smart. But you're so even-keeled. Like you really, nothing rattles you. You just have such, and I guess that comes from actually you were in, you served in Afghanistan, and I'm sure you have to have a pretty even.
Yeah, it does give you a certain kind of perspective.
Yeah.
You know, there's incoming in the form of a mean tweet, and then there's like incoming, right? And
right.
So you just learn, I think, to keep things in balance a little bit. I'm a very passionate person, but discipline is a really important part of how I serve and how I work.
Yeah. So you have been, I want to give you a chance to address this because you're having a hard time polling with minorities and the African American community, and I want you to speak to that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's got to begin with humility. I will never have the experience of, for example, walking through a mall or down the street and feeling eyes on me, judging me, and maybe thinking that I am dangerous just because of the color of my skin, the way black men experience. I will never have the experience of going into an emergency room and not being believed describing that I'm in pain the way so many black women experience. So I think it starts with acknowledging that. And if I can't know from experience what that's like, then how can I make myself useful to those who have? I think the next best thing I can do is to show up, to listen, to learn, and to elevate those voices. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that those voices are elevated in my campaign as a way to demonstrate what it'll be like in my presidency too, precisely because I'm never going to be able to say that I get it, at least not from the perspective of personal experience. When I think about something like the Douglas Plan that we put forward. The Frederick Douglass Plan is an idea that our campaign has put forward, a series of proposals to deal with systematic racism in this country. But it's not mine. I didn't sit there and think it up. The reason I think it's strong is because we asked black voices to build that plan. And the way I can make myself useful is to try to drive that plan through as president and continue to elevate those voices throughout. So that's the conversation I'm seeking to have with voters of color who have every reason to be skeptical of politicians, especially new figures who come along, given the number of broken promises and the ways that vote has been taken for granted again and again and again. And the only way to earn it is to go out there and work for it.
This was Rush Limbaugh's comment not too long ago. He said, how is this going to look? A 37-year-old gay guy kissing his husband on stage next to Mr. Man, Donald Trump. How do you want to respond to that?
Look, I guess he just has a different idea of what makes a man than I do. Look, I'm not going to take lectures on family values from the likes of Rush Limbaugh or anybody who supports Donald Trump, frankly. You know, when I was packing my bags for Afghanistan, Donald Trump was working on season 7 of Celebrity Apprentice. And I'm just done with that kind of. And since when is strength about the chest pounding of the loudmouth guy at the end of the bar? The strongest people I know are not the loudest people. They're the ones who have the deepest sense of who they are and what they value and what they care about. And one of those people, by the way, one of the strongest people I know is my husband, Brad Pitt.
I knew Chasten would like that. So
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I forgot my Oscar.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna put you in the hot seat. I'm gonna ask you a lot of questions, and you have to answer really, really fast,
okay,
which is hard for politicians to do.
Sure.
So, but I'm gonna do that. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Andy. Ellen asked me to remind you to subscribe to her channel so you can see more awesome videos, like videos of me getting scared or saying embarrassing things, like ball peen hammer, and also some videos of Ellen and other celebrities, if you're into that sort of thing.